This story is told from the perspective of a woman. I'm not going to tell you who I am, what my name is, or where I work. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is what I went through just 2 days ago. I'm only going to talk about what is directly connected to that horror. I live with my daughter. We're not rich, but we have enough to get by. My husband used to drink, a lot. That's actually the reason he's no longer alive. He died recently, and this story, in a way, is about him. Or maybe not exactly about him. You'll understand. Everything used to be normal. We were just an average family, up to a certain point. Then my husband started drinking heavily. I don't know why. It began after his mother died, my mother-in-law. Maybe that's somehow connected to everything that happened to me. I don't know. Anyway, I'll tell it in order. Like I said, I live with my daughter. Her name is Emily. She's 8 years old. One evening, I came home from work completely exhausted. Emily was sitting at the table doing her homework, just like always. I dropped my bag on the shelf in the hallway, went into the room, changed my clothes, and dragged myself into the kitchen to heat up yesterday's soup. I was unbelievably hungry. I had just finished eating when a couple of minutes later, there was a knock at the door. It was strange. I wasn't expecting anyone. It was around 8 p.m., maybe a neighbor or something. I looked through the peephole. There was no one there, just the empty hallway and that flickering light bulb in the corner that no one had bothered to replace for years. God, where do I even live? Why did I end up in a place like this? My mood was already terrible. Probably some kids messing around, I thought, and went back to the room to watch TV. But before I could even grab the remote, I heard the knock again. I went back, looked through the peephole. Again, no one. I opened the door and looked out into the hallway. Empty. What the hell is this? I muttered. Was I imagining things? No, I definitely heard it. I went back to the room, lay down on the couch, turned on the TV and got lost in my shows. That was the only thing that distracted me from this gray, exhausting life. About 15 minutes passed. Then again, knocking. Seriously, don't they have anything better to do? Emily, go check who's knocking, I said. She came into my room a moment later with a confused look on her face. Mom, no one's knocking. I sighed. Yeah, I really need to stop working double shifts. I'm starting to hear things. I hugged her, covered her with a blanket, and we sat together watching TV. About an hour later, sleep started taking over. I put Emily to bed in her room, told her a bedtime story, and lay down next to her. I didn't sleep for long. I woke up to a very loud slam of the front door. It sounded like someone had just come in or left. For a moment, I didn't think anything of it. My husband used to come home late at night all the time, but then, what husband? He's dead. I jumped out of bed. Emily woke up too. What the hell was that? I whispered. I threw on my robe and went into the hallway. The front door was open, wide open. I clearly remembered locking it. I always lock it at night, 2 locks. But now, it wasn't just unlocked, it was completely open. That's when the fear started creeping in, slowly, like needles under my skin, pricking every inch of my body. I closed the door again, locked it, put Emily back to bed, and lay down next to her. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. What was that? I'm not a superstitious person. I don't believe in God, the devil, or anything paranormal. But this, at the very least, was strange. Still, sometime around 7 in the morning, I finally fell asleep. It was Saturday. Emily didn't have school, and I didn't have work. For some reason, I woke up early. I had slept maybe 2 hours. I felt an overwhelming exhaustion, like I had been working all night unloading trucks. But I didn't want to get up. At the same time, I couldn't fall back asleep either. A strange state. Still, I had to get up. I needed to make breakfast. I got out of bed, threw on my robe, and went to the kitchen. The first thing I noticed was a mug, standing right in the middle of the table. You might say, so what, it's just a mug. No, it wasn't just any mug. It was my husband's mug. And here's the thing, I had thrown away all of his belongings, every single one of them, so I wouldn't think about him, so I wouldn't remember, so I could start over. How did it get here? What is going on? That's when I actually got scared. Goosebumps ran across my entire body. I lit a cigarette, sat down at the table, trying to think, but nothing normal came to mind, just stupid, chaotic thoughts. The burning cigarette snapped me out of it when the ash fell and burned my finger. I remembered why I came to the kitchen. I grabbed the mug and threw it in the trash. Then I started making breakfast. The day passed in housework, cleaning, laundry, cooking, and somehow I just forgot about the whole thing. The exhaustion didn't go away, but I explained it to myself by the fact that I had been running around the house all day. Emily spent almost the entire day outside. She came back around dinner. We ate, I gave her my phone, she watched something on YouTube, and I lay down on my favorite couch and drifted off. It was around 8 or 9 p.m. I didn't sleep long, maybe an hour or so. I woke up with an intense thirst. My throat was completely dry. I went to the kitchen. Emily was still sitting there, glued to the phone. I grabbed a mug, poured some water, took a couple of sips, and froze. It was the same mug, the one I had thrown away that morning. "What the hell is going on?" I whispered. This wasn't funny anymore. I clearly remembered throwing it away. That's when a thought slowly crept into my mind. Either something was wrong in this apartment, something paranormal, or I was going insane. I put the mug down, took Emily to bed, and went to my room. My head was a mess. First the door, now the mug. What kind of nonsense is this? And this exhaustion, where is it coming from? Maybe I'm sick. No, I checked my temperature. Everything was normal. Somehow, with all that chaos in my head, I managed to fall asleep. Surprisingly, I slept well. Nothing happened during the night, but it all started again in the morning. The front door was open. Again. And something else. My husband's things started appearing all over the apartment. His sneakers were on the shoe rack. His jacket was hanging in the closet. The mug was back in the kitchen. And more. Little things I recognized. "What is this? Some kind of joke?" I said out loud. But it wasn't funny at all. That evening, Emily's temperature suddenly went up. She turned pale, refused to eat. Just like me. Something unexplainable was happening in that apartment. Her fever went up to 102. I called an ambulance and we went to the hospital. I spent the night there. In the morning, I went back home to cook something for her. The food in the hospital, you can barely even call it food. On the way home, there was a small church. As I passed it, a thought suddenly came to my mind, to go inside. I'll say it again, I've never believed in any of that. But considering everything that had happened, I decided to go in. I spoke to a priest and told him everything, about what was happening in my apartment. We agreed that he would come the next day and bless it. I gave him my address and left, feeling a little calmer. When I got home, I didn't notice anything unusual, but the exhaustion was still there. Sometimes it got weaker, sometimes stronger, but it never went away. And I noticed something else. It got stronger when I was inside the apartment. And one more thing, for some reason, I had a really bad feeling about that night. I don't know why, but I did. Somehow I managed to cook food for Emily, got dressed, and left the building. Near the entrance, I saw my neighbor, an older woman, Mrs. Thompson, kind, sweet, living right below us. "Hey, come here, I need to tell you something," she said. "Good evening," I replied. "Listen, I'm old, I already have trouble sleeping. Could you maybe not run around at night? I understand you have a kid and all, but the ceiling is thin. I can hear everything. I can't sleep at all." "What do you mean? No one's running at night," I said. "People sleep at night, and Emily is in the hospital." "Really?" she said slowly. "So, No one slamming doors either? There was something in her expression, like she knew something, but didn't want to say it. After that, I just turned around and left. What the hell? So it's real. I'm not imagining it. She heard it too. But then, who was running around at night? We weren't even home. With that thought, I went back to the hospital. When I saw the doctor, I was shocked. He said Emily was completely fine, healthy. I could take her home right away. I felt relief wash over me. She ran up and hugged me. About 30 minutes later, we were heading home. But as soon as I saw the building, all those thoughts came rushing back. About something evil, something wrong. I remembered what my neighbor said, and I decided to stop by the church again. The priest was about to leave, but I convinced him to come with me right away instead of waiting until tomorrow. Because that terrible feeling, it was getting stronger with every step toward the building. We had nowhere else to go. No family, no friends, no money, nowhere. He agreed, and the three of us went up to the apartment. As soon as he stepped inside, his face changed completely. So like I said before, our life at Mrs. Thompson's apartment had started to get better. Everything was fine for about 2 or 3 days. Then one night, a couple of hours after we went to bed, it started again. I had just begun to fall asleep when I heard it. That same knocking. The exact same knocking that had forced me to leave my own apartment. Everything inside me tightened instantly. Fear crawled back in. In that dead silence, I could hear my own heartbeat and the knocking at the front door. And the strange thing was, it would get louder, then quieter, like something was playing with me. Why wasn't Mrs. Thompson waking up? Why wasn't Emily reacting? Was I the only one hearing it, or was I finally losing my mind? A thought crept into my head. Maybe it wasn't the apartment at all. But then, what was it? And what was I supposed to do? I lay there completely still while the knocking continued. Then suddenly, a loud udar on the door, so strong it made me jump. That snapped me out of it. I heard movement in the other room. Mrs. Thompson had woken up. The hallway light turned on. She walked to the front door. I heard her lock it. And right at that moment, it hit me. This was the same pattern, the same sequence, and that weakness, it was back. It was here again. My mouth was completely dry. I was insanely thirsty, but I was scared to get up. I was afraid that thing was standing somewhere in the hallway, just waiting for me to come out. Like I said, Mrs. Thompson was a very religious woman. Her apartment was full of icons, crosses, and religious books. I reached for one of the icons from the shelf near the bed, held it tightly, and slowly made my way toward the kitchen, hoping it would protect me. We had nowhere else to go. No money, no relatives, no friends. I didn't know what else to do. I had hoped the church would help, but what is the church really? It doesn't matter. Mrs. Thompson had a 3-bedroom apartment, and the hallway was long. I had barely stepped out of the room when I suddenly heard very fast footsteps in the hallway, running toward the front door. Then, a loud slam, like someone had just run out. That kind of fear, I can't even describe it. And the worst part is, I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to fight it. Maybe the icon scared it off. I don't know. I poured myself some water, drank it, and went back to bed. My head was overflowing with thoughts. I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. But eventually, closer to morning, I did. I woke up to my alarm. I had to get Emily ready for school. I woke her up and went to the kitchen to make breakfast. Mrs. Thompson was already there. We had breakfast together. Now even she was complaining about weakness and exhaustion, but she blamed it on her age. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "By the way, someone came to see you last night." "What?" I asked. "Some man. He was asking for you. You should at least warn me next time, or ask your boyfriends to come during the day, not in the middle of the night," she said with a smile. My stomach dropped. "What did he look like?" I asked. Just a regular guy, short hair, wearing sweatpants. Oh, and he had a mole under his left eye. Pretty noticeable. I froze. My husband had a mole under his left eye. Short hair, but he never wore sweatpants. Only jeans or trousers. I couldn't hold it in anymore. This might sound strange, but that sounds like my husband. But you said he was dead. Exactly. Her face changed instantly. The smile disappeared. Everything that happened in my apartment, everything I told you, it's happening again. Well, maybe he didn't die. Maybe he disappeared somewhere, went on a drinking binge, and now he's back, she said. How could he not be dead? I saw the funeral. I saw them lower him into the ground. She didn't respond right away. Well, the apartment is protected, don't worry. Just say a prayer before bed and sleep peacefully. I'm going to lie down. I don't feel so good, she said. She took her tea and some cookies and went to her room. I got ready for work. At work, I tried to push all of this out of my head. I focused on earning money. Honestly, I didn't want to go back to my apartment, but staying with Mrs. Thompson felt safer. The icons, the crosses, it gave me some sense of protection. The workday went by quickly. I went home. I didn't want to, but I had to. My daughter was waiting for me, and Mrs. Thompson. When I walked in, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Calm, warmth. Mrs. Thompson had baked pies. She and Emily were watching cartoons and laughing. For a moment, everything felt normal again. But that feeling didn't last long. As soon as we went to bed, the knocking started again. Only this time, it was much louder, stronger. And now Emily heard it too. She woke up immediately. A couple of minutes later, the light turned on in Mrs. Thompson's room. She walked into the hallway again. I heard her open the door, and then a stream of loud swearing. Then, the door slammed shut. But this time, she slammed it. The light went off. The apartment fell into darkness, and somehow, I drifted into sleep. In the morning, I woke up to the alarm again. I got Emily ready for school. Then I went to wake Mrs. Thompson. I opened her door and slid down the wall. I couldn't stand. She was lying in her bed, dead, and there was a metal cross embedded in her forehead, the same cross that had been hanging above the front door. The pillow was soaked with blood. I felt sick. I almost threw up. What was I supposed to do? Call the police? They would blame me. I was sure of it. And then I noticed something else. All the icons in the apartment had either fallen to the floor or were turned face down. I sat there for about 20 minutes. Then I gathered my things and left. I didn't know where to go. I was completely lost, broken. That thing, the one that had been lying next to me, I was sure it was the same one. But why me? Why was it attached to me? What had I done? And why Mrs. Thompson? Because she swore at it? None of it made sense. That feeling of hopelessness pressed down on me even harder, mixed with pure terror. In the end, I had no choice. I went back to my apartment. I felt guilty about her death. It was eating me alive. I was exhausted all the time. I constantly wanted to sleep. I decided that if the police came, I'd just say I didn't know anything. I brought her few belongings into my place and went to take a shower. It was starting to get dark. Emily wasn't home yet. She stayed after school until about 6. While I was in the shower, I heard the front door open and the hallway light turn on. Emily's home, I thought. All I wanted was to protect her, but I didn't know how. I stepped out of the bathroom. She was standing in the hallway. Something was wrong, very wrong. Her face, it was unnaturally pale. "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Why aren't you saying anything?" I asked. She just stood there, silent, staring at me. She had never behaved like that before. Usually she would run up to me, hug me, go straight to the kitchen. But not this time. She just stood there and stared. That's when it hit me. First, my husband had come back, in some way, knocking, trying to get in, because we weren't home. And now, what if this wasn't Emily? What if it was that thing again? I quickly grabbed the cross the priest had given me and held it tightly. Her face changed. Her eyes turned black. I understood immediately. That wasn't her. That thing again. "Where is my daughter?" I whispered. I slowly started backing into the bedroom, the same room where I had first seen it. It, stood in the hallway, smiling with those black eyes. For a moment, I even thought about jumping out of the window. I didn't care anymore. Then, in the mirror, I saw the doorway behind me, and in that doorway, it, the same creature that had lain next to me in bed days ago. It wasn't hiding anymore. It made strange sounds, like whispers mixed with clicking noises. It was coming closer. I clutched the cross tighter, and after that, I don't remember anything. I think it came right up to me. I couldn't move from the fear. Then my legs gave out, and I blacked out. I woke up around 11 in the morning. Police officers were around me. They had come after a call, but everything got worse when I heard why. They found Emily's body in the building, in the basement. Her neck was broken. I started crying. There are no words to describe that feeling. It's beyond horror. I lost my little girl. Why should I even live now? When I got up and looked in the mirror, I was horrified. My hair had turned completely gray. My face was covered in wrinkles. Like I wasn't 35 anymore, but 80. I fainted again. I woke up in a hospital. There was an investigator sitting next to me. I told him everything that happened. He didn't believe me. Of course he didn't. Soon after that, they put me in a psychiatric hospital. I'm writing this from here. They think I'm insane. They think I'm making all of this up. But I know what I saw. I saw it. It killed Mrs. Thompson. It killed my daughter. Then why did it leave me alive? So I could suffer? No. They found this note in my room. The staff at the hospital said I cut my wrists with a sharpened